On the next episode of Sips, Suds, and Smokes.
Today we're going to be discussing some fantastic wines from Sherry. Very excited about this show. It is, yes. This is a area of the wine world that a lot of people really don't know a lot about. So we're going to be discussing today the following: Williams and Humbert, Pando, Fino; Bodegas, Barbadillo, Manzanilla, Solear, and Rama; Hidalgo, Gitana, Napoleon, Amontillado; Valdespino, Solera, 1842 VOS; Gonzalez, Byass, Nectar; and Bodegas, Tradicion, Pedro, Ximenez, VOS. Since Sherry is literally a wine category that not a lot of people are familiar with, our read-in on this is going to be a little bit lengthy, but we're going to give you as much information as we can.
Because we're geeks.
We'll be right back after this break.
Brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement Studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking host, the good old boys. And now it's sippin' time.
Yes, it's sipping time again. Hello and welcome to this Sips episode where everything in life that is good is worth discussing. As always, we are the best thing on at 2 a.m. This is a 1-hour show, and we are going to attempt to be entertaining for at least
23 minutes.
Wow, you're shooting high.
No, dude, this is a Sherry show. I
Yep.
think we can do 30 minutes.
Yeah, possibly.
We're going to do it.
Well, this is Made Man Bob. Joining me today, our good old Gal Denise.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Made Man Maury.
Good morning, Bob. Very excited to be here in España.
And good old Boy Harmeet.
Good morning, Denise.
Good morning, Harm.
We're ignoring him? Okay. Well, our sip segments are all about wine, distilled spirits, tea, coffee. Today, we're going to be discussing some fantastic wines from Sherry. Very excited about this show. It is, yes. This is a area of the wine world that a lot of people really don't know a lot about. So we're going to be discussing today the following: Williams and Humbert, Pando, Fino; Bodegas, Barbadillo, Manzanilla, Solear, and Rama; Hidalgo, Gitana, Napoleon, Amontillado; Valdespino, Solera, 1842 VOS; Gonzalez, Byass, Nectar; and Bodegas, Tradicion, Pedro, Ximenez, VOS. So we're going to have Harm tell us about our sips ratings.
Thank you, Bob. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. One sip. Or uno sip? I don't know.
Uno, yes.
Uno sip. Give me a glass of water to wash out my mouth.
Water. Bring water. Bring water.
2 sips. Nice. But what else do you have?
Well, isn't that nice?
3 sips. Interesting. What was this again?
Interesting.
4 sips. Let's keep this a secret to ourselves. Pour me another.
That's classified.
5 sips. Oh my. Oh my, oh my. I was unaware anything could be this good.
That's his sexy voice, in case you were wondering. It's kind of sad.
Really?
Oh, my goodness.
Good morning, Bob.
Yeah, see? That didn't work. All right, so since Sherry is literally a wine category that not a lot of people are familiar with, our read-in on this is going to be a little bit lengthy, but we're going to give you as much information as we can.
Because we're geeks.
Yeah, absolute geeks. We've been waiting weeks and weeks and weeks to do this show. So Sherry is a Spanish fortified wine, which is produced exclusively in the wine growing region of Jerez. the region which is situated in a triangle of land formed by the towns of Jerez de la Frontera, San Lucar de Barrameda, and El Puerto de Santa Maria. It's known as the Sherry Triangle. The region's winemaking is rich with tradition that goes back more than 3,000 years to when the first vines were brought to this region by the Phoenicians in 1100 BC. That's friggin' old. The early decades
I had a girlfriend named Sherry. I didn't have a name for her triangle, though.
You just had to
now
go there.
I should have.
Oh, Sherry, your love. Hold on. In the early decades of the 20th century, in an effort to protect the reputation of sherry, wine producers of pushed for passing of legislation for the creation of the Denominación de Origen Jerez.
DOC. Just say DOC.
And the Consejo Regulador. Their regulations dictate that sherry must be made from one of three types of grapes: Palomino, which is a very common one, Pedro Ximenez, and Moscatel. All three are white grape varieties. The harvesting of grapes varies based on the variety of the grapes. The Palomino are cut and transported to the presses as quickly as possible, whereas the Pedro Ximenez and the Muscat grapes are spread out under the hot sun on mats made of dry grass or esparto. The objective is to allow the grape to dry and effectively turn into a raisin, with the grapes being covered at night so as not to absorb moisture in the early morning. The grapes are then destemmed and crushed before being sent to the extraction system. The extracted juice is classified by the different amounts of pressure used to extract it. The regulations state that only those musts obtained from a maximum yield of 70 liters for each 100 kilos of grapes may be used to produce sherry wine. Toward the end of December, the new wines are ready for the first classification. The tasters will sample each batch of the new wine, classify it into two groups. Those wines with a particular paleness and finesse, generally from must obtained without applying any pressure or very, very light pressure, will later be aged as Finos and Manzanillas. And their tanks are marked with a single vertical slash known as a pala. Those batches which present signs of greater structure, or gordura, are earmarked for the very start of the production of Oloroso sherry, and their tanks are marked with a corresponding circle symbol. So let's have Maury tell us a little bit more.
Thank you, Bob. At this point, the wine is fortified by the addition of wine alcohol to slightly raise its final alcoholic content, originally created to stabilize the wines which were to be consumed in distant markets. Today it is done for different winemaking reasons. Those wines classified as apt for aging, as Finos and Manzanillas, are fortified until they reach a total alcohol content of 15% alcohol by volume. Those wines classified to undergo aging as Olorosos are fortified in such a way as to reach an alcohol content of at least 17%. By bringing the alcoholic strength of the wine up to 15% by volume, they provide an environment that allows for the formation of the flor, a layer of natural local yeast that forms on the surface of the wine, that feeds on the oxygen in the barrel and thus protects the wine from oxidation and facilitates its biological aging. With an alcoholic strength of over 17% by volume, biological activity ceases, and even the flor is unable to survive under such conditions. Without the flor, there is no protection from contact with oxygen, allowing the wine to begin to undergo a slow oxidation or oxidative aging. Denise?
So, Generoso wines are defined by the regulations as dry wines produced from the total fermentation of must, usually produced from Palomino grapes. The decision of the bodeguero to fortify the alcoholic strength of base wine to either 15 or 17% volume determines the type of aging which the wine will later undergo, thus determining the type of wine they will produce. Manzanilla, Fino, Amontillado, thank you, Oloroso, and Palo Cortado. Generoso liqueur wines are defined in the regulations as wines obtained from the traditional practice of I'm not sure how to pronounce this word. Cabaseo? Okay, cabaseo, or blending of Generoso wines with naturally sweet wines, or in certain cases with concentrated must. These are wines with different degrees of sweetness. According to the type of Generoso wines used as a base and the final levels of sweetness of the blend, the
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. They create pale cream, medium, and cream sherry. Naturally sweet sherry wines are those obtained from must produced from overripe or sunned grapes, generally of the Pedro Ximenez and Muscatel varieties. This must, rich in sugars, is only partially fermented, with the aim of conserving most of its original sweetness. Wine alcohol is added once fermentation is underway, and the wines are aged in direct contact with the oxygen in the surrounding atmosphere, leading to them acquire a deep mahogany color and distinctive thickness.
All right. Well, thanks, Denise. Why don't you tell us about the first wine that we've got?
There's very dense, as is the wine. There's a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, that's a lot of information. I'm trying to follow.
Again,
that.
our reading is usually short, but again, this is a
lot
category
going
so
on
many
here.
people don't know about.
Yeah.
So we're
that's
getting
good to
geeky.
know. So the first one is Williams and Humbert Pando Fino. It's coming in at 15% ABV. It's 100% Palomino grapes aged in oak casks for 5 years in the traditional Solera method. Founded in 1877 by Sir Alexander Williams and Arthur Humbert, Bodega Williams and Humbert has been considered to be one of the world's most prestigious wine producers in the world. Located in the heart of Jerez de la Frontera, Bodega Williams and Humbert has more than 1,200 acres of vineyards and the largest wine cellar in Europe, and are the producers of the Dry Sack brand. Created in 1906, a staple sherry among many restaurants around the world.
Yeah, Dry Sack is good, but
Yeah.
I love for me, their Oloroso is what put them over the top, but we're not doing Oloroso today. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can see why they would say that it's a staple sherry among restaurants around the world. I think it's really approachable for a lot of people. We'll discover that as we get into this lineup. But for the first one, I think it's beautiful color.
Finos are not the approachable ones. Finos are the geeky one. Their Dry Sack line is the one that's approachable. But this color.
This is pleasant. It's a little yeasty on the nose, little yeasty,
Very
bready.
yeasty on the nose.
And on the palate, I get the yeast and the almonds. I mean, on the nose, I actually got, like almond paste for me. Not quite marzipan,
Yeah,
but
if marzipan didn't have as much sugar, this would be
yes. Not as sweet, but it was very
Dry
pleasant
version of marzipan.
with a little light citrus. So that made the finish really nice for me. Bob's just enjoying his wine over there.
Yeah. So
This is a unique spirit. I think a Fino sherry is an acquired taste. I don't think that a lot of people are
it's not popular in America.
naturally born in America to enjoy Fino. It's very dry. It's a little bit austere. It's an interesting digestif and can be used nicely for that purpose. This one's got a nice yellow color to it. It's definitely got, for me, a lot of yeast on the nose up front. And I agree with you about the almond, just minus the sweetness. So it's an interesting wine. I think it's fun to compare and contrast to the other types of sherry. Interesting spirit.
We'll finish
be
up
back.
when we go back.
Hey, and we're back, and this is our big sherry show. We are still discussing the Williams and Humbert Pando Fino sherry. So, what do you think, Harm?
I really enjoy this sherry. I do like Fino sherries. I'll have to say, let me qualify this. It's not my favorite Fino sherry, but as an introductory Fino sherry for people, then this is great. What Denise said about the yeasty nose is perfect. I'm getting a little more hints of apple as it warms up. Apple blossom, citrus, and almonds, as she was saying, like marzipan without as much sugar. And it's a full-bodied but delicate in palate. Long, nutty taste, and what I'm really enjoying this with, I have a piece of manchego here, a thinly sliced piece of manchego, a couple of Marcona almonds, and this is the perfect accompaniment. Bob, what do you think?
I think it's a really well done wine. It's very representative of its category. As it warms up, the nose is opened up significantly. And of course, it's a Fino. You're going to get that yeastiness because it's aged in a cask with that layer of floor. So you're
high
always
acidity and dryness is really also.
Yeah.
We can't stress enough how dry this is.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly what it is. It's a Fino. It's supposed to be that way. as it warmed up, the tartnesses came out, and I've got down here Granny Smith apples.
Yeah.
So I'm getting the apples and I'm getting the tart. I definitely get the yeastiness on it. It's a very delicate wine, as Finos are apt to be. It's got some really nice character to it. Yeah, an excellent introductory wine. Excellent introductory wine. So we're going to be rating the Williams & Humbert Pando Fino, 2 sips.
Well, isn't that nice?
So let's move on to our next wine, and we're going to have Maury tell us about that one.
Thank you, Bob. The next wine is the Bodegas, Barbadillo, Manzanilla, Solear, and Rama. It is 15% ABV. Bodegas Barbadillo was founded by Benigno Barbadillo Hortelguela
Inigo Montoya. Yeah.
in 1821 and is the largest producer of Manzanilla in the Jerez region. The bodega,
I love how you guys are lisping your Z's.
Jerez.
Both you and Bob. I know, but this is Marca. That's Jerez. Jerez.
Okay, Justin. Islay.
Yeah.
I slay.
I slay, you slay. This bodega is still a family business and is run by the 7th generation of the family. The wine is between 6 and 7 years old from a Solera of 10 criaderas.
I don't know what a Criaderis is.
Me either.
I think it's layers.
The levers,
10
the levels on. Yeah.
On the Solera?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I thought there were only usually like 5 layers on the Solera.
These are 10.
You can do as many as you want.
All right.
They're using 10.
This one has a pale yellow to goldish color. The nose is definitely reminiscent of the Fino, but a little bit different, a little less yeasty. It's got some other notes in there.
I'm getting more apples. You want more
Yeah,
apples?
definitely a hint of apple that I really didn't appreciate so much on the first one.
I got apple and maple, like maple syrup.
Yeah.
On the palate, again, nice acidity, definitely a dry wine, got layers of interesting complexity, very well made, and then just sort of drifts off quietly into a short to medium finish.
I agree with you. I was expecting a little bit more from this Manzanilla too. I tend to like Manzanilla and Finos, but these are just more introductory level ones. The yeast is there, but I really enjoyed the nose on this one more than the Fino.
Yeah, the nose
which
was
I was
nicer.
surprised because I generally don't like Manzanilla as much as Fino, but this one was gorgeous. Yeast and apples, black tea, anise, and you said maple, Denise. I didn't get that until you said it because to me it was like a hint of honey.
No.
But maybe it's more maple.
I got
No,
maple.
it's definitely maple.
Yeah, it's maple. Wow.
Nose? Maple nose?
Yeah.
And so apples, maple, black tea, anise. The anise came out after it warmed up a little bit. And there's a hint of saline on the palate, which I really enjoy. So I was very happy with this, but it's not really the style I like.
What'd you think, Denise?
As I reapproach, it's good.
No, I think it's great. I love the nose. I was so excited and so intrigued by the nose, and I just couldn't wait to try it. And I found it to be really clean and crisp and pleasant, but I really expected a little more body, and it was really
Still light.
and really
Yes,
fast
very light
on the
on the
palate, and it makes you go back and want to nose it again and try it again. But still.
Well, there are some fancier Manzanillas out there. This one is, this is introductory, and I think they do a good job still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really pleasant, really nice.
No, I as soon as you said maple, it was exactly what I was thinking. It's just,
And this is also making a nice accompaniment to the cheese.
and the maple was just, it's all in the tip of the nose. It's right up front. It's not deep down back. It's got a lovely palate to it. I definitely get that saline hint. I definitely get a little bit, just a slight bit of licorice. It also getting the apples, like a tart Granny Smith apple in the nose. Yeah, extremely well made. A very good classic example, of a Manzanilla. Delicious wine. Like you said, a little more, I think, on the introductory side of a Manzanilla, but absolutely nothing wrong with that. Most people have to, they have to start with something, and this is definitely one. If you see it, grab it off the shelf.
Yeah,
This
you're
is
not going
one-
to spend an arm and a leg on
Yeah,
it.
and it'll give you a great education, and you'll know what a Manzanilla should taste like. So, extremely well done. So we're going to be giving the Bodegas Barbadillo, Manzanilla, Solear, and Rama 2 sips.
Well, isn't that nice?
So let's move on to our next sherry, and we're going to have Harm tell us about that one.
Okay, our third sherry of the day is the Hidalgo La Gitana Napoleon Amontillado. The Bodegas Hidalgo is a 225-year-old producer. They've been around since 1792, started by Jose Pantaleon Hidalgo, still family-owned, so operated by the sixth generation of the family, and they produce wines from their organically farmed vineyards. Hidalgo, I'm familiar with the brand because I carry all of their sherries at the store because I was introduced to them about 2 years ago, and because they're now based, their U.S. operations are based in Miami, and I was so surprised to find such great sherries at these prices. These are lower priced compared to some of the better known brands, but they're getting amazing reviews in the high 90s from all the major producers, and they're doing a wonderful job. So this Amontillado, the Napoleon Amontillado, is on the riper side we're still on the dry sherry, but on the riper side now. It's a dark amber color, and now we're going away from some of those higher acidity notes to more like nuttiness, nuts and caramel. I get cedar, and there's like an umami dried mushroom thing going on, and the palate is still dry, but more, there's like a caramel note to it now. Silky on the palate. Beautiful mouthfeel. Like it's just really not super sweet caramel, but just like a delicate caramel and like a pecan nuttiness to it. And the finish is medium to long. I really like this, but it's not a popular style. Amontillado's, it's not sweet enough for people who like sweet sherry, and it's too sweet for people who like dry sherry. So it's right in the middle. So it's a geek's sherry. But if you ever read any Edgar Allan Poe, his famous Cask of Amontillado, this is where you should go. Bob?
He wrote that right after his famous "just scored some more heroin." Yeah. Okay. This is a lovely Amontillado. I like sherries from one end to the other. I don't really discriminate. I lean more towards the sweeter ones, but I really do love the drier ones. And Harm's right. This is the one that is sort of stuck in the middle. And, people do tend to sort of overlook it. That being said, I wish more people would drink it because these empty casks make some fantastic scotch.
Yes, they do.
Really, really great scotch. On the nose, oh, yeah, it's as close to sweet as you can get without getting sweet, if that makes any sense.
It seems like there's very little residual sugar here.
It's not a sweet wine.
The caramelization is there, but it's not sweet caramelization. So you get on the nose, you get a caramel note, you get vanilla, you get the cedar notes, and it's like,
I don't get as vanilla as much as maple on this one too.
The easiest way to describe it is it's like smelling a forest floor. It's earthy, it's mushroomy, it's umami, it's just that rich, dense forest floor vegetation on the nose. And on the palate, hold on. Again, more of a medium dry, not bone dry as we got on the others, and certainly not sweet, but an unsweet, sort of slightly burnt caramel note. I get a little bit of the almond on it, and a little bit of walnut.
Not as nutty as the first two, but it's there.
No, but it's there. It's absolutely there. And again, it's that earthiness. It's that forest floor. It's like, it's like drinking the earth for me. Well done. A lovely sherry. What'd you think, Denise?
I actually should change my score to a higher score now that it's sat in the glass.
Exactly.
I really enjoyed it and appreciate it. The nose for me, I just, in the beginning, I was like, wow. When you go to those outdoor fairs and you get those toffee covered nuts in a cone, like the guy is like, heating them up. And I mean, that's what I got, like toffee covered pecans or almonds on the nose. I mean,
It's more pecans.
I just thought that it was wonderful. And on the palate, though, is where I got that earthiness, the mushrooms.
Yeah.
Like you said, umami or like Worcestershire.
Like an
I'm like,
old
what is all of this? I mean, it became so complex.
Yeah.
The flavor profile was
it
fantastic.
evolves and it opens up.
So many
and
different
rotates.
things.
Yeah.
Definitely not a one note for me. I like that it had a more medium finish. And I think that it has evolved so much that I need to change my score to a higher score because I actually really like this. Not too sweet, beautifully sweet on the nose, and then a nice surprise of not too sweet on the palate.
Most people are going to find this to be fairly dry.
On the palate, it's dry, but it's sweet. It fools you and think it's sweeter because of the nose.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about food pairings, and I think fish,
what would you
smoked
pair?
fish.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, this is where to go.
I would have not.
Because like the first
considered
two
smoked
nuts
fish.
and cheeses, this one,
Oh, this with a nice piece of salmon?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
smoked fish
Yeah.
Sounds good.
or grilled octopus or something.
I agreed
Okay.
with Harmeet's description of the nose the best. I mean, I really thought that you hit it spot on, Harm. The nose is so interesting, and Denise, you're synthesizing into the cone of nuts. I think that really does apply nicely to the nose.
But less sugar than at the fair. At the fairs I've gone to, it's too
Yeah.
much sugar. There's
Yeah,
less sugar.
but you
That's gonna
smell
be our-
it first.
It's the roasted
it
nuts.
smells good.
It's the roasted nuts,
And then they're
a little
too
bit of sugar.
sweet
With
when
the
you eat
toffee
them.
and the caramel and all that.
That's going to be our new pet name
dry.
for Maury, the cone of nuts. Where's the cone of nuts? Oh, he's running late. Yeah.
Yeah, very well done. Very well done.
Yep.
Yeah, this one, as it warms up, it opens up.
gets better and
This one
better.
is definitely really made a vast
Made your
turn.
day, has
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Again, it's like he said, it's the middle category. It misses the bottom people and it misses the other end of the people, but it's so well done. So, well, we're going to be giving the Hidalgo, Gitana, Napoleon, Amontillado 4 sips.
Yay.
That's classified.
Ooh, a little bump there.
Everybody wanted a bump, so
Yeah, you gotta
we're
bump
going to
it.
give a bump. So, we're going to have Maury tell us about our next wine.
Thank you. The next wine is the Valdespino Solera 1842 VOS, produced by Bodegas Valdespino, one of the oldest bodegas in the sherry region, dating back to the year 1430. Solera 1842 is an Oloroso Dolce from a Solera started in 1842. It is a blend of dry Oloroso with very old Pedro Ximenez.
It's dulce. Dolce is Italian. This is dulce, Spanish.
Like dulce de leche.
Get your Latinates correct.
Well, excuse the hell out of me. So, as I said, it's
You better hope
blended,
you never need surgery, boy.
blend of dry Oloroso with very old Pedro Ximenez. As a VOS wine, it is over 20 years old and spends nearly half of its life as a blend rather than being blended just before bottling, as is more typical. This one has a really interesting color that's hard to describe. I would call this a...
Just want to call it brown.
Yeah.
That's brown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Looks like
brown.
Coca-Cola.
If it's brown, drink it down.
Yeah.
It looks a lot like Coca-Cola. It's definitely not black and tarry like some of the others, but it is really not any shade of copper or bronze that I know. On the nose, wow. The nose is so complex and has continued to change. I've got notes of dried fruits, figs and dates and raisins. There's burnt sugar. There's vanilla. There's toffee. There's oak. There's cocoa. There is cinnamon, just a hint of it.
I didn't get any cinnamon till it opened up after it was
Yeah,
sitting there
Yep.
for a
but
while.
it's taken
I couldn't
time.
find it earlier, but
taken
it's there
time.
now.
I mean, the nose just really is something, and this is really more Bob than me of just nosing something all day, but this is an all-day noser. It just really has so much going on. And just so pleasant. On the palate, it's got beautiful viscosity. Again, you get raisins, sweet raisins, dates, walnuts, bittersweet chocolate, a hint of coffee and burnt toffee. It's like Christmas in a glass. It's just got a lot going on.
Is it true that we have to bring our own water?
We got a little rule back home. If it's brown, drink it down.
This is clearly much sweeter than what we've had so far today, but not cloying. not overly sweet, balanced. It's got some balance with the tannin and a little bit of acidity. It's got a beautiful finish that I would say is medium to long. You get hints of dark chocolate and even some roasted coffee beans on the finish. Really a spectacular wine from a wonderful house that's been producing for a really long time. I mean, this Solera goes back, almost 200 years.
So what
Amazing.
really distinguishes these type of wines as dessert wines from like other dessert wines is the high acidity, which makes them more approachable. You can keep coming back to these. So that's what I really appreciate here. Even though they are sweet, and being a diabetic, this table might just kill me today if I keep drinking without spitting.
If we're lucky.
Yes. It's that high acidity.
None of us
And
will go
it
to
makes
jail
it
over it
refresh.
either. He drank it.
I drank it right in front of you. It's Denise, what did you agree with he said? I know he's your husband, but
Yeah, I agreed, actually.
You don't have to agree.
No,
I was going to say, that's a first.
Denise, Denise, blink if you're under duress.
Yeah.
There's just like,
Why is Maury blinking?
I'm under duress. Kicking me under the table.
Yeah, I agreed with the description from all of you. When I first tried it, I thought, wow, is that a chocolate covered espresso bean? And
Nice description.
I thought, yeah, actually, I think it might be. So I'm a coffee lover and a chocolate lover, so I'm really loving and digging the notes on this, both on the nose and the palate.
With dessert, but this is dessert
would
by itself.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. So yeah, it's lovely.
You could probably pair it with a more savory dessert.
Oh, definitely. Not so sweet.
You don't want to
can't
go with
sweet.
super sweet dessert with this.
No. You're not going to do your quattro leche with this, for
Unless you
sure.
want to die of diabetes.
Quattro leche.
I'm
Become
saying.
diabetic and die from those complications on the same meal. Yeah.
But yeah,
That's it.
no, it has to be more savory. Absolutely.
Cheese plates,
Yeah.
some little truffles.
So not a traditional Oloroso. I was hoping that today we'd have a more traditional Oloroso.
I was
in the
hoping for
mix.
one too, but this is different.
But this is really nice, and I think the blend of the PX along with the Oloroso really brings something to the table. The
As
complexity
a
of the layers.
VOS, it's one of the older sherries that we'll get.
Well, we'll be back. Hey, and we're back, and we are still talking about some of our fabulous sherries. We are still discussing the Valdespino Solera 1842 VOS.
So I was saying it's a 20-year-old. That's the minimum age in this.
Oh,
Solera.
yeah, minimum.
So VOS means at least 20 years. Solera means you're going to get much older ones. I mean, there may be some 50-year-old sherry. There's drops of it in there. Molecules of older stuff. Who knows? But that's the minimum. So the oldest, I think, designation is VORS, which is 30 years and over.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
But today we're just doing VOS. We're stopping there.
Well, I mean, theoretically, there's molecules in there going back to 1842, which
There
is,
you go.
when you're drinking that, you always have to sort of,
you can only reuse the barrels so many times.
You have to sort of-
they fall apart.
think back, what was happening then. It's always an interesting exercise in, sort of drinking history. But
Yes, it is drinking history, and it's gorgeous.
And incidentally, I did want to mention that this is the highest ABV of any of the sherries today. This one comes in at 21%, which again,
I knew I liked it.
doesn't hit like it's hot. It doesn't come across as hot
No.
or hit as high ABV. If anything, I would say it's extremely balanced, and you really would have no idea that this would be the highest.
No, it's absolutely lovely. It's just, again, like you guys said, it's, what a nose. It's just dates and figs and raisins and burnt sugar and toffee and, this is one of those, just smell it for hours, sitting by a fireplace with a good book and just every once in a while pick this glass up and just stick your nose in and just inhale deeply. It's, that's a fantastic
As
wine.
much as you like this, I'm telling you, it's 20 years old. I'm just looking this up right now. You know what else is 20 years old? Aqua Barbie Girl. So I feel old now because I feel like who? Remember Barbie Girl from Aqua?
Sorry.
The Verve Bittersweet Symphony? No?
No,
Come on. How old are you guys? You
I had a life and I listened to actual music.
remember
so-
Hanson? Bop?
No,
20 years old.
no, sorry, no.
Well, thank you for that useless bit of trivia.
Remember Led Zeppelin? Yeah, it's 50 years old.
Yeah, see, you guys are living in the past.
And it still sells, 20 million copies a year. So, okay, never mind. This is everything that really you want in a sherry. It's an Oloroso Dulce, so it's a little different than a regular Oloroso, but the
Olorosas I've had have never been this sweet.
Yeah, I've never.
A blend.
This is my first time having one. I mean, I've had plenty of Olorosos, but I've never had this one, and I think I found a new one for me because it's just.
Yeah,
fantastic.
For me, this is the middle of the road sweet spot. It's not too sweet, not too dry. It's just right.
Yeah,
this is one you can sit there and you can drink for quite a while. It doesn't. The sweetness doesn't build up on you and make Harm's eyes roll back in his head and fall into the mouth.
It's the acidity. It fools you into thinking you're not getting that much sugar, but you're getting that much sugar.
Yeah. Oh God, that finish is just.
I'm afraid to chuck my blood sugar.
It's your alarm's going off.
It's just chocolate covered espresso beans.
Danger.
That's what it is. It's just fantastic.
It's more than that, dude. It's figs and raisins, and to me, that fig taste is great, but. We've got another one coming up that you're going to talk about, Bob.
Well, we're going to give the Valdespino Solera 1842 VOS a well-deserved 5 sips. So we're moving on to our next to last one, which is from Gonzalez Byass.
Penultimate.
The penultimate, like the penultimate supper, yeah. The Gonzalez Byass Nectar, Pedro Ximenez. This is 15% ABV. The bodega was originally founded by Manuel Maria Gonzalez in 1835. In 1849, he created his own brand, Tío Pepe, the first registered trademark in Spain, named in honor of his uncle, José Ángel y Vargas, who strongly supported him and taught him everything about growing grapes and making wine. In 1855, Gonzalez partnered with his British trade representative, Robert Blake Byass. Today, they own 650 hectares worth of vineyards. This wine is made from 100% Pedro Ximenez grapes, sun-dried in the traditional Solera process for up to 2 weeks, with the grapes losing up to about 40% of their volume. Aged 8 years in American oak, following the traditional Solera system.
Also, you should note that these guys have a long history with some other people we like.
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of their casks, I think most of their casks, all end up going to Richard Patterson for them to make some of their wonderful Dalmore in.
The cigar blend, the King Alexander, there's some 25-year-old and 50-year-old scotches out there made with these cognacs.
I think it's a 200-year partnership they've had with
Very long
house.
Partnership. It's fun to taste these side by side with the scotches.
Hey, where's the scotch, Bob? Come on, man. Where's my Dalmore 25-year-old?
Dalmore exclusively uses cask by Gonzalez Byass.
Yeah.
And again, that's a very, very important partnership that they have.
Yeah. And it shows. And it shows, especially on the higher end Dalmore. I mean, you can really, really taste it.
And interestingly, unlike other scotches that will use just a single type of sherry, say Oloroso, standard Oloroso, these guys are actually using many different types of sherries, including the Amontillados, the Olorosos, the PX casks, and blending them to create some of the various expressions.
I'm seeing some more Finos up there. There's a Talisker does a Manzanilla cask for their distiller edition. Lafroig still does, Lagavulin still does Oloroso, but Kilhoman just came out with a Fino cask finish.
Yeah. But occasionally they're doing that. They're picking something special for a one-off. But as a matter of routine, the Dalmore's using all of them in various
that's awesome
formulations.
Well, this expression that we have from them, the Nectar Pedro Ximenez, on the nose, hold on.
Well, the color first is black like my heart.
Oh, your heart ain't even close to that black. You don't have a bar card like me.
Black like your soul?
I've sold my soul for law school money.
Oh.
On the nose, it's just the richest, most concentrated dried fruits, raisins and figs, and like opening a jar of fresh fruit preserves that your grandmother made. On the
By
palate,
definition, fruit preserves are not fresh.
And
I'm just messing with you now, man. But this is the best nose.
And I'm ignoring you.
This is the best nose of the evening. This is it. This is the one.
Yeah, it's just mind-blowingly good.
Stunning.
And it just, when you swirl it around the glass and let it go back down, it takes about a 5 count for those legs to make it back down. It's on the palate. It's not as sweet as I had anticipated. It's still sweet, obviously. It's a PX. But not nearly as, it's not cloyingly sweet, not scrape your tongue sweet, but it's just dark caramel, raisins, figs. Hold on.
The figs stand out more to me than any other fruit.
Absolutely.
It is just, it's
like
Maury and Denise treated us to
Newton.
some manchego and figs for the wine show, but this is
like a fig Newton in a glass.
And it has the most
better than anything.
amazing mouthfeel when you drink it.
Better
It's
than
like
anything,
it's
yeah.
like drinking heavy cream. It just rolls over your tongue and your mouth, and just like a coat of paint just running down your mouth. It's just
I try not to drink paint, but I imagine
it is so mouth coating, and the feel of it is so fantastic. I cannot say enough good things about this wine. What do you think, Denise?
I think it's fantastic. So obviously, all of you have described it to a T. And now that we talk about the cheese, Harmeet, I'm so sorry that I didn't open a jar of the fig spread. You know that fig spread that you always put on a cheese platter that you can't get enough of with your cheese?
I get this
That's
one.
what I get on the palate with this.
I get the one with the cheese, the
so
fig spread
amazing.
with the bitter orange in it too. But there's no orange here. This is
Right.
just the pure fig spread.
Yeah,
the orange
but
is not here.
You know that fig spread, they add something to make it sweet. It's just fantastic.
On toast points with a little bit of cognac glazed pate and a little bit of fig spread.
A lot
is
of
the
fig
best.
spread.
Well,
Wasn't he the guy
That's
that
my
says he
point.
doesn't eat cheese when he's tasting wine?
No, I don't. No.
When he's
no,
you wanna
drinking
just
wine.
toast
no, when I'm
points.
just
No.
drinking and having fun, that's different. When I'm actually taking my notes, I won't do a cheese.
Yeah.
He has
But
fun.
I'm doing manchego now because we already took our notes. The notes are done.
He has
So
fun.
now he gets to eat the cheese.
Now I have to eat the cheese.
What do you think, Maury?
I thought what's been said is spot on. I thought when it was first opened, it was a little cool coming out of the cellar, and it needed some air and it needed to warm up. So initially, I just was a little bit off put by just overwhelming prunes on the nose. I got just prunes. And even on the
that was
palate.
too cold then.
It was too cold. But now that it's warmed up, now that it's aerated a little bit, I agree with everything that's been said. It's just got layers upon layers on the nose and on the palate. It's got this unbelievable viscosity. I agree with Bob. The sweetness has mellowed a little bit. It's a little less cloying than it was when it initially came out of the bottle. And in fact, it's delightful. You could definitely
If
enjoy
you find a bottle of this on the shelf at your local, grab it. Absolutely,
And it's not too
grab it.
expensive. This is not a
this
super
is middle of the
expensive.
road.
No, it is life altering.
You have these at the store?
Yeah, just
Not the Nectar, but I do have other Gonzalez Byass, but I will have to bring this Nectar in. So what you guys didn't mention, which I really got the end here, is like there's a floral note as well. There's flowers. It's figs and flowers and raisins. And I want to find some citrus in there, but there's no citrus. This is all black. This is all dark.
yeah.
And just caramel. And there's a nuttiness. There's some oak here, but you have to reach for those. Just let that stuff melt. Just put it in your mouth and let it melt. Let it just go all over your
Just
palate.
run down
Let
your
it go.
palate, run down your throat. Just, oh my gosh. It's
Wow.
fantastic. So we're going to be rating the Gonzalez Byass
12 sips.
Nectar Pedro Ximenez. I'd give it 12 if I could. Unfortunately, the sound effects don't go to 12. This is one of the best sherries I've ever had.
Yeah.
This is absolutely
And
fantastic.
it's nowhere near the most expensive sherry you're going to find.
No.
It's just a great value. Wow.
All right, so we're going to have Harm do our last one.
Thank you, Bob. All right, so this is hard to compare to the other one. This is also a VOS. This is the Bodegas Tradicion Pedro Ximenez, established in 1998. But the family of its owner, Joaquin Rivero, has connections to the legendary brand CZ, Cabeza de Aranda y Zarco, the oldest brand of the DO. So he's got family connections to them, but this is a newer brand. They acquired their stocks from some of the oldest and most historic Soleras of Jerez. So again, they're not all the old wines there are made by them. They did buy some, and so they're blending back. And so we have. So we were talking about VOS sherry. So they make the 20-year-old, but we really were hoping to get the VORS, but apparently we got shipped the wrong one. So we're not going to hold that against them. The VORS is their Vinum Optimum Rare Signatum, or very old rare sherry. That's 30 years old. This is 20. So we have another 20 following that, the Gonzalez Byass. This is black like Bob's soul before he sold to the devil.
I can't remember that far back.
You cannot see through this. This is even holding it up.
Light doesn't penetrate.
Yeah. This is perfectly opaque.
Just swirl it in your glass. Oil. Swirl it in your glass and then look at the glass. The glass is dark.
The glass is turned brown. And it's not brown just because they give me dirty glasses here because I'm the brown guy. I went ahead and cleaned my own glass because I have to do that here.
Clean my glass now.
Yes, clean your glass too.
Yeah.
But the nose. This is different. Not as heavy as some other Pedro Ximenez I've had. This goes more like brown bread. Brown bread and butter and dates. Very light on the fig. More dates. And there's some nuttiness coming out, but I'm not quite sure what it is. And on the palate, it's unctuous. This is mouth coating, even heavier than the Nectar.
For sure.
Super heavy. When we poured it in the glasses, it was like 30-year-old balsamic going into the glass.
Yeah,
it's like syrup.
It comes out in like chunks.
It's 10W30 Pedro Ximenez.
Yeah. Used. Yeah.
No, it definitely pours like used motor oil.
Yeah.
So I get on the palate, there's some walnut and almonds. More walnut. Almonds come out later. The figs are now coming out, which I did not get on the nose. The figs are out, and it's like Turkish coffee. I love Turkish coffee. This is there. It's Turkish coffee in there. There's some spice. It's not quite cardamom, but it's there. And the finish goes on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And I can keep saying that. And because it's still going on. I took the sip a minute ago, and I'm still tasting it. It's still there. The acidity is there.
It coats your palate and doesn't let go.
It doesn't. So you can still come back to it. Not quite as nice as the nose on that Gonzalez Byass, which is the best sherry I've smelled in forever. But it's almost as good.
Yeah.
Denise, what did you think about this one?
I'm still thinking about this one, Harmeet. There's a lot to think about because there's a lot going on in this glass.
It's complex.
It's very complex. When you have a really great aged balsamic vinegar, it is smooth and silky and even sweet when they age it and it's reduced and they don't add any sugar to it. That's what this reminds me of. And then I get this.
Except this has like 300 grams per liter.
On the finish, I get this toastiness, and I'm not really sure where that's coming from
that's
or
right.
even how to
that's where that
describe
bread note
it.
Comes from the nose.
But it's like a toastiness. Then I'm like, well, maybe that's coffee grounds, but I don't know what it is, but it's fantastic. And I'm just enjoying it and
it's
loving it.
It's like a piece of toast with marmalade at the end.
Yes.
Fig preserves you were talking about earlier.
Fig preserves on toast at the very end.
Yeah, with that toast. That's
this
what it is.
This would go well with the cheese board without the figs. This would take the place of that fig spread.
Absolutely. Yeah,
bring me a cheese board, a little bit of pate,
some toast points because you need the toastiness.
I'm ready. Bob,
look at the legs on it. I mean, going down the side, it looks like the side
It's a radio show, Bob. They can't see the legs.
It looks like the side of a bottle of Maker's Mark. I mean, they're just literally like
with the
creeping down the side of the glass. Yeah. It's fantastic. There's nothing else more to say. 5 sips. I mean, it was fantastic. Bodegas Tradicion, Pedro Ximenez, VOS, 5 sips. So thank you very much to the Wines of Ref for sending us these because it was a great day. Really great day.
I don't want people to get the wrong impression, just that we gave lower scores to the drier ones. It's like it's just that they, I'm not a sweet hound. So, what do you think?
I think it was a good day. I think
good day in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all the time we have today. We hope you enjoyed this episode. You're listening to us online. Do yourself a favor and tap the follow or subscribe button. The easiest way to listen to our show is to ask Siri, Alexa, or Google to play podcast Sips, Suds, and Smokes. We love your feedback. You can reach us online at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com, and our daily tasting notes fly out on Twitter every day at Sips, Suds, and Smoke, and our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news. You'll also be able to interact with the thousands of other fans on those social media platforms. You can also check us out on Instagram at Sips, Suds, and Smokes or at Made Man Bob. Do us a favor and take the time to rate this episode if you're listening to us online. It's a big help to us, and we get to see your feedback as well. I want to thank our co-host for joining us today. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you for this wonderful experience today.
Yeah, it didn't suck, did it?
No, it didn't suck.
Thank you, Maury.
Thank you, Bob. Another great day in the basement.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely a good day in the basement. And thank you, Arm.
I'm going to write down my emergency contact information if I don't recover from the sherry. Wow.
We're not calling. Yeah. Write it down all you want. Tattoo it
by
on
the
your
way,
forehead.
when Bob says send us your emails, people have been sending me questions. We need to do a show about questions.
Oh, you need to do a little Q&A?
Yeah, I've seen some of them. Harmeet, why are you such a... Never mind.
Yeah. You're not answering those questions. Yeah. Those are rhetorical.
Oh.
Those are rhetorical.
Why is it that Justin can't do a good accent? Well, for Sips, Suds, and Smokes, this is Made Man Bob. Thanks for joining us. Remember, life is too short to drink bad wine.
This has been a one-tan-hand production of Sips, Suds, and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the good old boys, will see you all next time.